Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome for the next session. Let's start. Let's start immediately. Okay, so I hope all of you are ready for the next XAT session. We are uh, now in that zone where we have to look at some really important questions. So let's get into it right away. All right. So let's start. Uh, PDP module is ongoing. Please look on this details, and you can check out all the details that are there. Okay. PDP session is ongoing, right? The make use of it, full use of it, right? Okay, let's start. Here we go. Now, so I, as always, I have brought along some relevant questions. Something which I find unique in that questions is they make us think. They make us they are not standard questions. They're not just okay, these theories of maths and you can do these questions like that. Okay, so one such question is here. We have, in the final semester, an engineering college offers 3 elective courses and 1 mandatory course. Okay, a student has to register for exactly 3 courses, 2 electives and the mandatory course. There are 3 electives and 1 mandatory course. So the mandatory course will be taken by all the students, right? A student has to register for 3 courses, 2 of those 3 electives, and the mandatory course, obviously. The registration in 3 of the 4 courses is this 45, 55, and 70. What will be the number of students in the elective with the lowest registration? Okay. So I have to register for exactly 3 courses. Okay. So when I will be adding up, okay. So first of all, what is this 45, 55, 70? Okay. I don't know whether or not one amongst them is the mandatory course or all of these 3 are the electives. Okay, so that is the main thing over here. Try to understand. Once again, I'm repeating. हमें नहीं पता, we don't know कि ये जो उसने हमें डेटा दिया है 3 of the 4 courses 45, 55, 70. We don't know if amongst these 3 registrations जो उसने दिया है is one of them the mandatory course or all 3 are electives. So how do we interpret these numbers 45, 55, 70? That is something that will change depending on how we interpret it. So a student has to register for exactly 3 courses, 2 electives, and the mandatory course. So as a student, I could, let's say the electives are E1, E2, E3, and let's call the mandatory course as X. Okay. So I could either go for E1, E2, and X. As a student, I could either go for E1, E2, and X, or I could go for E2, E3, and X, or I could go for E1, E3, and X. Any of these combinations are possible for what a student can go for, right? So the point is that ये जो है data 45, 55, 70, when you think about this, that okay, so whenever I will be adding this 45, 55, 70, okay, what would it denote? एक केस ये हो सकता है कि the largest amongst these numbers is the mandatory course. So case 1 could be the situation when the mandatory course is the one which has the 70 registrations. Obviously, mandatory course cannot be the one having 45 or 55 registrations. That is not possible because that has to be the superset, right? Mandatory course has to be 70. Not, it cannot be 45 or 55. Now, can I say that since each student is going for 2 courses, so the total number of registrations for the electives will be twice of the number of students. So, right. So 70 into 2, which is 150, should be the total number of registrations for the electives. Isn't it? Make sense? So therefore, we can say that 45 plus 55 plus n, where n represents the number of students having chosen the third elective, should be equal to 140. So from here we can get n is 140 and this is 90. So 140 minus 90, this is 50. So in this case, we understand that the number of registrations for the electives is 45, 55 and 50. And in that case, 45 is the least number of registrations, and that is also one of the options, right? Now, but it could also happen that these represent the number of students who have chosen the three electives. So case 2, right? Case 2. 45, 55 and 70 denote the number of students who have gone for the uh, uh, who have chosen the basically the number of the three different number of electives, right? So in that case, 45 plus 55 plus 70 should be twice of the number of students. So equals twice of, let's say, x, where x is the total number of students. So 45 and 55 is right. 100, 170 is twice of x. So x is coming to be 85. In this case, the number of registrations for the elective with the lowest registrations is again 45, right? Okay, just one small thing. I think over here, this should be 55, not 40, 45. So this would be 40, in which case this would be 40. So 40 would be the lowest number of registrations, not 45. So 40 is also possible, 45 is also possible. So therefore, either B or D, right? That is the two scenarios. So you have to understand that this was the unknown, right? That which this 45, 55, 70 could denote either all three elective data or two of the electives and the mandatory course data. So therefore, those two cases being there, we have two different interpretations and hence two different answers for the question, either 40 or 45. Perfect. Okay. So this was XAT 2018. Next is XAT 2021, a geometry question. As always, this question again brings something very unique to us. Let's understand. ABC is a triangle with integer valued sides AB equal to 1, BC more than 1, and CA more than 1. If D is the midpoint of AB, then which of the following options is closest to the maximum possible value of the angle ACD? Let's draw the figure. It's a triangle in which one of the sides is 1, the other two sides are more than 1, all the three sides are integers. First of all, apply the triangle inequality, right? Can I say that the sum of any two sides is always more than the third side? So AB, let's say, plus BC should be more than AC. So AC minus BC should be less than AB, and AB is 1. And AC and BC are sides of the triangle and they're integer valued. The difference of two integers is less than 1. Less than 1, so it can be at the most 0. It can't be even equal to 1, remember. Right? How is it possible that two integers, which are obviously positive integers, right, their difference is less than or equal to 0? I hope you can understand the only way we can make this work is that if AC minus BC is equal to 0, right, or AC equals BC. There is no other way. In short, if one of the sides of a triangle in which all the sides needs to be integer is 1, then the only possible way we can construct this triangle is that it is an isosceles triangle. Otherwise, we can't construct this triangle. So if one of the sides is 1, the other two sides must be equal. Just think about this. One of the sides in a triangle is 1. Okay. If let's say this is anything, let's say this is 5. Can this side be anything apart from, you see, we can't have anything apart from 5. If this is 4, then triangle inequality is not satisfied. If this is 6, then again triangle inequality is not satisfied. If this is 10, again it is not satisfied. So therefore, the only way that this can work is that it's an isosceles triangle. So in general, this is one, this is something x, this is something x. This is a triangle ABC. AB is one. And now he's saying D is the midpoint of AB. So we know that isosceles triangle, D is the midpoint of AB. If I join CD, then this will be splitting the triangle ABC into congruent parts, right? Which of the following options is closest to the maximum possible value of the angle ACD? This angle we have to maximize. This is one, right? We have to maximize this angle ACD. Now, so the thing is, obviously, the longer the length of CD, the smaller the angle. So I would want to minimize the length of CD. And obviously, if I have to minimize CD, I would also want to minimize AC and BC. But AC and BC are both more than 1 and they are equal and they're integers. So their minimum value is 2 because they need to be more than 1 as per the problem. So what we can understand is that 2 is the minimum value that AC and BC can take. Accordingly, this angle we can, well, question is asking closest to the maximum possible value. Closest. So it looks like we won't get an exact value, but we'll get some relation over here. If this angle is theta, then we know this is 2 and we know this is 1, the whole of AB. So AD will be half, right? Because obviously CD will be the perpendicular bisector over here, right? D is the midpoint. So for this angle theta, we have the opposite, we have the hypotenuse. So we have sine theta, right? Sine theta is AD over AC. AD is a half, AC is 2. Sine theta is 1 by 4. We don't have a exact angle whose sine theta is 1 by 4, but we can approximate. We know that sine of 30 degree is half. We know that sine 0 degree is 0. So obviously, this angle is between 0 to 30. And obviously, it can't be very close to 30. It has to be somewhere in the middle. So from the options, something between 0 to 30, the only option that works is 15. Right? It's an approximation for the angle theta, right? I'm not saying sine 15 is exactly half, but it is nearby half. 1 by 4, right? It is nearby 1 by 4, right? So we just had to approximate. We just had to. So this interpretation was the first, the most important thing over here was this interpretation that if one of the sides is 1, the other two sides, the only way it can work is that they are equal, right? Let's continue with the next one. So numbers is a very interesting topic and many interesting questions have been asked. A XAT 2009 question I have brought over here. Let's see. fx is a fourth order polynomial. Fx is a fourth order polynomial with integer coefficients and with no common factor. The roots of fx are -2, -1, 1, 2. Integer coefficients, no common factor. Roots are -2, -1, 1, 2. If p is a prime number greater than 97, then the largest integer that divides fp for all values of p is what? So look at this. fx. So no common factor in the coefficients, and then means effectively there is integer coefficients and no common factor. So can I say that? So obviously the roots are given. So first of all, I can write the linear factors over here, right? For the given polynomial, we can write x plus 2, -2, -1, 1, 2. So x plus 2, x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 2. So this makes sure that these are the 4 roots. Now, apart from this, I can also keep some constant outside also, common. But if I do that, then this condition will not be satisfied. So I can't keep any common factor outside. So this must be 1. So I cannot write anything. So this exactly is my fx, right? I cannot. So the coefficient of x power 4 is effectively 1. Now comes the question. If p is a prime, more than 97, the largest integer that divides fp for all values of p is what? So f of p is p plus 2, p plus 1, p minus 1, p minus 2. Now, this would have looked like a very good set of 5 consecutive integers if there was a p multiplied in this expression. Why I'm saying that? Because I know there is a concept around product of certain consecutive natural numbers. We know that the product of n consecutive natural numbers is always divisible by the factorial of n. Right? This is a number concept that is well known. Right? So what I'll do is I'll multiply with p. So p times fp is basically now p minus 2 up to p plus 2, the product of 5 consecutive integers. So we know that this product has to be divisible by 5 factorial, which is 120. But the question is not about this expression of 5 consecutive natural numbers, but rather about the product of these four numbers which are not consecutive. However, what we know is that p is a prime over here. So p cannot contain any factor from 120, right? 120 is nothing but powers of 2, 3, and 5. It is 8 into 3, 24 into 5, 120, right? So since p is not divisible by either 2 or 3 or 5, so it means our fp is divisible by 120, and there is an option lying over there which says 120, and we can mark that and move on. But this is the trap. This is the trap option. What we are saying till now is not wrong, but you see the question is about what is the largest integer that divides fp. So you see what happens is, think about this. We have this product. We have p minus 2, p minus 1, p, p plus 1, p plus 2, right? Now, we are saying this product is divisible by 120 for sure. And p, the middle number, need not contain any factor from 120. The other four numbers will be, their product will be divisible by 120. 120 being 8 into 3 into 5, 120. Now think about this. If this p minus 2, right? Let's say, so what I'm trying to think, what if this product contains some additional powers of either one among 2 or 3 or 5? So think about this. It is difficult to have more than one power of 5 for sure, because these are 5 numbers. So at most one power of 5 can be present there. But think about this. P is a prime, so it can't be a multiple. So I'm now thinking about 3. What if this number contains more than one power of 3? That's what I'm thinking. So you see, this p can't be a multiple of 3. Let's say this is a multiple of 3 plus 1. Then this will be a multiple of 3 plus 2. This will be a multiple of 3 plus 3, which is effectively a multiple of 3. This will be a multiple of 3. So another multiple of 3 I got. This is 3m minus 1. So I got two multiples of 3. Likewise, if p is 3m plus 2, then this is 3m plus 3, another multiple of 3. This is 3m plus 4. This is 3m plus 1. This is 3m, another multiple of 3. So that's the thing. This product will contain for sure 2 powers of 3 or 2 multiples of 3. And therefore, this product will not only be divisible by 3, but rather 3 square. So this will be divisible by 120 times 3 or 360. Right? So that you had to analyze. So that's your that question. Right? That's what it brings around. Right? ये तो पता ही होना चाहिए that the product of n consecutive numbers is divisible by n factorial. Right? But apart from that, you have to go one step ahead. Okay. Chaliye, next one. Okay, something on algebra now. Quadratic. XAT 2019. Again, very unique kind of a question that came. Let's see. Given that a and b are integers and that 5 plus 2 root 7 is a root of the polynomial x square minus ax plus b plus 2 root 7 in x. What is the value of b? Now, as soon as you see this root 5 plus 2 root 7, right? I mean, uh, we have heard many times that, the equations of a quadratic are conjugate pairs. So you might want to quickly interpret, okay, 5 plus 2 root 7 is a root. The other root should be 5 minus 2 root 7. But wait. वो हम तब कहते हैं जब quadratic equation के coefficients rational होते हैं. But look at the quadratic. The constant term is b plus 2 root 7. It is irrational. So you cannot conclude, in fact, in this quadratic equation, definitely the roots are not conjugate pairs because the coefficients are not rational. So you have to go by the basic logic. 5 plus 2 root 7 is a root. What is the main interpretation if for some polynomial fx, alpha is a root? If alpha is a root of a polynomial, call it p of x, then what does that basically tell us? It tells us that p of alpha is 0. That is the basic meaning of root. So that is exactly what we have to do. So in this case, our polynomial p of x is this whole quadratic x square minus ax plus b plus 2 root 7. So in this case, p of alpha, and alpha is 5 plus 2 root 7, has to be 0. So just now put x equal to 5 plus 2 root 7 in this equation and expand. So 5 plus 2 root 7 whole square minus a into 5 plus 2 root 7 plus b plus 2 root 7 is 0. Now expand. 5 square 25, 4 into 7 28, 5 to the 10 to the 20 root 7 minus 5a minus 2a root 7 plus b plus 2 root 7 is 0. Now I have an equation which looks like a single equation in two variables a and b. I have to solve a and b. I have to find the value of b. How do I find this? So you see, like what this expression has, it has some integer parts, it has some irrational parts. 20 root 7, 2a root 7, these are the irrational parts. 25, 5ab, these are the integer parts. If this is 0, then the integer part has to be 0 and the irrational part also has to be 0. So from the same equation, we'll have two conditions and hence we'll have the answer for both the variables. So 25 and 28 is 53 plus, so this is done, then this is minus 5a and this is plus b. So let me write plus b minus 5a. Right, this must be 0 and the other parts are uh, you know uh, they are irrational. So 20 root 7 and 2 root 7. So 22 root 7 and this is minus 2a root 7, and that is, I have considered all the terms, so this is also 0. So from here obviously we are getting a to be 11, right? 22 is equal to 2a, right? A is 11. So put this value of a over here. B is therefore 5a minus 53 from this equation, and a is 11. So we get 11 into 5, 55 minus 53. So b comes to be 2, right? So very simple question, right? But there is a chance of misinterpretation, right? So I hope that this makes sense. Everyone clear? Can we move on? लाइव सेशन है, कुछ डाउट है तो पूछ सकते हैं. From any question till now, any doubt, do ask me, right? Make sense? Okay, let's continue. So our XAT module brings 20 live online sessions, 10 strategy sessions, 8 full length mocks, 12 sectional tests, something that you can make use of, available for 999. Details are over here. So you can scan this. Right. Apart from that, if you're looking for some specific DM only preparation, that is also available for 99 only. DM Redux 2026. Right. Okay. Let's continue. A very favorite question of mine that came on time and distance in XAT 2013, I would want to discuss. Look at this. Ram, Shyam, and Hari went out for 100 kilometers journey. Ram, Shyam, and Hari. Okay, so let's say this is the starting point. They have to reach somewhere for 100-kilometer journey, not a short one. Okay, right? A to B or X to Y, call it. Ram and Hari started the journey in Ram's car at the rate of 25 kilometers per hour, while Shyam walked at 5 kilometers per hour. After some time, Hari got off and started walking at the rate of 5 kilometers per hour, and Ram went back to pick up Shyam. All three reached the destination simultaneously. The number of hours required for the trip was how much? Very interesting. Ram and Hari started the journey in Ram's car while Shyam walked. After some time, Hari got off and started walking at the rate of 5 kilometers per hour, and Ram went back to pick up Shyam. Let's say that so they might have gone till let's say this point. Okay, I'm just writing over here RH to denote that Ram and Hari had reached till here. Okay, and Shyam was coming from here. Shyam. Okay, Ram and Hari. So now Hari got off. So now Hari started walking at 5 kmph, and Ram went back to pick up Shyam. So let's say I'm saying this is some point, call it here. I'm writing RS to denote that Ram and Shyam met at some point over here. So Shyam was coming from here. Ram was coming back towards Shyam, and they met at this point. Okay. So these are the two milestones or the two important points where the people meet or they break off. They move away. Right. So everybody is walking at 5 kilometers per hour, right? Even Shyam is walking at 5. Even Hari is walking at 5 when he is walking. And the car is moving at 25 kilometers per hour, which is 5 times the speed of walking. So can I say that since everybody's started the journey simultaneously, right? So therefore, the distance covered by Shyam must be by Ram, right? Until he meets Shyam must be 5 times the distance covered by Shyam. So if distance, let's say from point X to this point RS, where Ram and Shyam meet, is call it distance D. So the distance moved by Ram till now should be 5D. So from X to this point D, already this point distance D was also covered by Ram. Then he went this distance RS to RH, and then back from RS to RS, which should be 5D. So D plus twice of this distance should be 5D. So D plus twice of 2D will make it 5D. So this distance should be 2D. So that D, then 2D, 2D, 4D, 5D is the distance covered by Ram. Right? So I'm using the very simple ratio approach that when people are moving for the same time, then the ratio of the distance covered by them is in the same ratio as the ratio of their speed, or therefore, using this ratio concept, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to break down this journey of 100 kilometers into different parts in ratio form. So already I have done 1:2 ratio between these two parts. Now still I have this third part remaining over here. Now call it some distance 100 minus 3D, that is right. Now think about this. I can write the condition over here that the distance covered by the time taken by Shyam and by Hari should be the same for the entire journey. So if this distance is, call it X kilometers, although I can write it as 100 minus 3D, I like it writing X So time taken by Shyam for the entire journey should be equal to time taken by Hari for the entire journey. Time taken by Shyam for the entire journey is, he moves distance d at the speed of 5, so d by 5, plus 2d by 25 plus x by 25. He covers the remaining distance of 2d plus x at the speed of 25. This should be equal to time of Hari. So Hari moves the distance of 2d plus 2d, 3d at the speed of 25. So this is d by 25 plus again 2d by 25. And then he covers the distance of x at the walking speed of 5. So x by 5. 2d by 25 cancels, right? So d into 1 by 5 minus 1 by 25 equals x into 1 by 5 minus 1 by 25, right? Bringing all the terms on one side. This factor is the same. So we are getting x is nothing but the same as d. X equals d. So we have broken down the journey into its three parts in the ratio form of 1 is to 2 is to 1. And we know the whole journey is of 100 kilometers. So we need to split the 100 in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 1. So nothing but d plus 2d plus d, which is 4d is 100, or that d is 25. So this is 25 kilometers, this is 50 kilometers, and this is 25 kilometers. And therefore we can find the time required for the trip by any one person. Call it for Shyam, for Hari, or even for Ram, it's the same time, because that is the whole perspective based on which we have solved the question, that all the three reach the destination eventually simultaneously. So therefore they took the same time. So time of Shyam is, he covers the distance of 25 at the speed of 5. So 25 kilometers at the speed of 5 will take 5 hours. And the remaining of 75 kilometers he covers at the speed of car, which is 25, which is 75 by 25, 3 hours. So 5 and 3, this is an 8-hour journey for all the three people. Right? Very interesting question, I would say. Right? Okay. Any doubt? Clear, everybody? Okay. Let's move on. Let's see the next one. Now, Trigo. Okay. Yeah. So Trigo is also something that comes quite frequently in XAT, right? So let's look at this one. A boat stationed at the north of a lighthouse is making an angle of 30 degrees with the top of the lighthouse. Very simple. Simultaneously, another boat stationed at the east of the same lighthouse is making an angle of 45 degrees with the top of the lighthouse. What will be the shortest distance between these two boats? The height of the lighthouse is 300 feet. Assume both the boats are of negligible dimensions. So effectively, therefore, their height is practically zero. So they are at the same level as the ground level. They don't have their own height, right? Perfect. Now, this is a very good question because it requires a little bit of visualization, right? Because this question is not in the same plane. Means uh, all the objects are not tied together in the same. I mean, it's not a question of 2D. It's a question in which the objects are situated three-dimensionally, right? It's not just one plane in which all the objects are situated. One is in the north, one is in the east, right? And there's a line of sight involved. So look at this. I mean, this is not a figure that I have to draw in the 2D, right? Try to understand. This is a 3D figure. Okay. So let's say this is our lighthouse, right? So I'm drawing it little oblique because intentionally, so that you can visualize the three-dimensional effect of the figure. So from this lighthouse, okay, so think of it, you're looking at an oblique angle, right? You're looking at it sideways, okay. Now north of this somewhere there's a boat which is making an angle of 30 degree, okay. So like that, this is 30 degree, this is 300 feet, right? So obviously we can find the base. Tan theta is tan 30 will be involved, base perpendicular upon base will be 1 by root 3. So can I say this is 300 root 3? And then comes the direction which is east. Then this angle is 45 degrees. Tan 45 degrees 1. So the base is equal to the height. So this is 300 feet. We have to find the distance. Let's say this is point A, the first board. This is point B, the second board. We have to find the distance between these two boards. Right. So very simple. That is the north direction. That is the east direction. So now looking at this figure on the plane, this angle over here is 90 degree because this is north, this is east. So this is an oblique figure. Try to understand. It's not, you're not looking at a 2D planar figure. Okay. This thing is a vertical, lighthouse. Okay. And this direction is north. The 300 root 3 line is north. The 300 line on the going towards the the second boat is 300 feet. So since this is 90 degree, right? So we can find this is the hypotenuse AB of a right angle triangle in which 300 root 3 and 300 are the sides. So obviously from the Pythagoras theorem we can get this. So this is in the ratio of 1 is to root 3. So this is a 1 is to root 3 is to 2 right angle triangle. So this is 300 into 2 or 600 feet. Right? That is, I hope, that this is the figure, right? One is in the north, one is in the east. So look at the ground. On the ground, the two line of sight along the base, you find their lengths, and then you see that's a right angled triangle, and you solve that. Perfect. So therefore, trigo questions are sometimes like this, right? They come in which we have to visualize the whole figure in 3 dimensions, right? It's not a single plane figure, right? Perfect. Okay, let's see next one. Now some questions that I've brought, a few extra questions from my side just to recap some of the important concepts. Right, let's see. White grapes contain 80% water. White grapes contain 80% water, which when left to dry yield golden raisins having only 20% water content. How much percent of the water content in white grapes is lost during their conversion to golden raisins? So very common question about grapes to raisins. What happens? Obviously the water content gets reduced significantly, right? So 80% water becomes only 20% water. So apart from the water content in the grapes, there is something else called it fruit pulp, right? So that is not going to change. That is not going anywhere. So let's say we had 100 kg total of white grapes. Let's assume we have 100 kg of white grapes. So it will have some water content. It will have some pulp. So the white grapes have 80 kg of water and 20 kg of pulp, right? Whereas in the raisins, the pulp is still going to be 20 kg in quantity because it is not going to go anywhere. Since the golden raisins have 20% of the water content, so this 20 kg is therefore 80% of the total weight of the golden raisins, right? If 20%, if there is 20% water content in the raisins, then 80% is the pulp. So this 20 kg is 80%. So if 80% is 20, then 20% is how much? 1/4 of this, or 5 kg. So from 100 kg of white grapes, we are getting only 25 kg of raisins. The water content is getting reduced from 80 kg significantly down to only 5 kg. So 75 kg has been lost. So what is that percentage lost? That is exactly what the question is asking. How much percent of the water content is lost? So percentage of water content that is lost is 75 kg on a base of 80 kg. So this is 5 cancels, 15 by 16. So that's a fraction of the loss, which we can convert to the percentage. 1 by 16 we know is 6.25%. So this is 1 minus 1 by 16. So this is 100% minus 6.25%, or 93.75% of the water content is lost. So in these questions of converting grapes to raisins, you have to apply the logic that the pulp content will not change. It will remain the same, but its percentage will change because the total weight is being reduced, right? So I hope this makes sense as well, right? Okay, let's see next one. Okay, let's practice something on time and work. Two machines, four men and 32 women can complete a piece of work in 6 days. 27 men and 96 women can complete the same work in 2 days. The efficiency of a machine is how many times that of a man? So, very simple question. Uh, right, we are given two different scenarios in which how the work can be done. So let me say that the work rate of a machine is some A units, that of a man, work done per machine by each machine per day is A units. For man it is B, for women it is C. This is the work rate in terms of work done per day, rate on a daily basis, right? So the total work is same in both the scenarios, right? For which we are talking, it's the same work, so we can equate that. So we'll get some relation from there. Something can come out from there, right? It looks like we should be able to eliminate C over here because we have to relate the efficiency of a machine to a man. So let's see. Total work is, so in 6 days the work can be done. So 6 into work is rate into time. Time is 6 into rate of, so two machines, 2A, 4 men, so 4B, 32 women, so 32C, which equals also in 2 days. So 2 into, again, 27 men, so 27 B, and 96 women, so 96 C. It looks like C will get eliminated because we can see 32 into 6 is also 192, 96 into 2 is also 192. So yes, we are going to get our answer. We can cancel, in fact, this 2 and this is 3. So 3 into 2, 6A, plus 3 into 4, 12B, plus this is 96C, which also equals 27B plus 96C. So yes, as we could see, this C is getting eliminated. And we are getting 6A equals, this is 27 minus 12, which is 15B. So A by B is 15 by 6 or 5 by 2. So yes, the efficiency of a man is 2.5 times that of a man. We can answer this, right? Cannot be determined is also the option, but we don't need to go for that. Okay, so therefore, people, I hope that we are taking something away from this session, right? Whereby we know that the exam that we are going to face is going to bring us some very unique questions. It's not going to be a run of the mill kind of an exam, right? This exam will test your thinking power, right? So I mean, uh, be ready to look at questions coming, with their own information and something unique that comes in them, which you have to analyze. So with that, I can say just keep on doing a grind, right? This is the time not to overthink. Okay, be very clear with your concepts, your fundamental concepts, and keep on looking at new questions, right? Just keep on getting exposure to right, very logical questions, right, that come, right? So previous year questions are uh, I mean, they will help you to understand what you can expect. So there is nothing better than PYQs. Just you should have finished all of them, and these sessions are meant to selectively pick the best questions and practice. Okay. So with that, I wish you all the best. I'll see you once again very soon. Thank you so much. Right. Until we meet next time. All the best.